So I'm starting to see dead transmissions in this bad boy, the 2024 Toyota Tacoma. Check this out.
I'm going to give you the inside scoop of what Toyota doesn't want you to know. This is the third Tacoma that is coming. Brand new 2024, less than 50 miles on it that will not shift. Bad manual transmission. Will not go into second, fourth, or sixth gears. So far, no confirmed fixes from Toyota, but I'll keep you updated.
So I decided to go start exploring in the forums and on the National Highway and Safety website, and I found some, hopefully what's not a trend for the new Tacomas. I see automatic transmissions failing and manual transmissions. It seems like the manual transmissions, they don't even have a fix for it yet, which is crazy. So I would probably stay away from those for now. Let's get into it. And I also got this email from one of my viewers. He has a 2024 Tacoma TRD off-road, 2,700 miles, dead transmission. We'll go through that here in a second. So let's start out with the official data from the National Highway and Safety Administration. Currently, there are only 5 complaints. I'll let you guess what they are. The first complaint here, brand new 2024 Tacoma TRD off-road automatic, 2,700 miles on the truck, 2 weeks old. I think this is probably the one that I got an email as well. I think he reported it to the National Highway and Safety Administration. The second powertrain one on May 28th. They were able to pull off the side of the road. The vehicle was towed to the dealer where it was diagnosed that the transmission had failed and needed to be replaced. Next issue on May 12th, 2024. Vibration between 25 and 45. Confirmed the technicians had possible transmission failure. Doesn't look like there's a mileage on that one. And the next issue on May 10th. Only had the vehicle about a month with only 1,245 miles on it. Was leaving the parking lot and pulled out onto the road, and the vehicle shifted into neutral after a minute or so. Then the vehicle slammed back into gear. Did this 2 or 3 times. The check engine light came on with 3 reported errors. 1, advanced ultrasonic detection and range system malfunction. 2, drive start control system malfunction. 3, check engine light stating malfunction in the electronic control of the engine, throttle, or automatic transmission has been detected. The dealership informed them today that it will need a new transmission and that there were similar issues on new Tacomas across the United States. Now, this is the email that I received from one of my viewers with a brand new 2024 Tacoma. He says, thanks for giving the time to be heard. Hey, if any of you guys have problems with your new Tacomas, Tundras, anything, let me know. Send me an email, cars@thecarguyonline.com. He says he's had a terrible experience with Toyota in purchasing of this truck. He bought a 2024 Tacoma TRD off-road. 2,700 miles on it, was shifting hard between some gears and eventually got stuck in a higher gear, he presumes because he'd put the pedal to the floor and it wouldn't move. Toyota Tech says they found metal shavings in the transmission fluid and it needed a new transmission. Now, this is a report that I've seen from quite a few other videos. There are no transmissions on the ground in the United States, so it could be 2 to 4 months or longer before he gets this ordered and put in the truck. He's registered the complaint with the National Highway and Safety and make sure they are tracking the fault. Now, in some case like this, I hope that Toyota just does a buyback for him. It seems to me that that would be the best thing to do. You can't have a customer buy a truck and then wait 2 to 4 months to drive the brand new truck. So that's pretty bad. This prompted me to go spelunking in the forums. Obviously, some of this stuff has already been reported on, like these rear differential leaks. Check your rear diffs. There are a lot of other little issues with Tacoma, kind of first model year issues. You know, the AC dripping cold water on the driver's side, odd engine noises. This one, rough transmission shifts. That's probably going to be a failed transmission soon. And then there was this manual transmission. So I dug a little deeper, and sure enough, going on over to TacomaWorld.com, and that message board, this guy's manual transmission needs replaced. He says so he picked up his beautiful new 2024 TRD off-road orange Taco on Saturday. By Sunday afternoon, gears 2, 4, and 6 were non-existent. Toyota was super nice in picking up the truck and providing a rental. The bad news, the district customer service advisor said that all manual transmissions were manufactured with a major defect. All of them produced in a certain date need to be replaced. Probably some debris issue, huh? He wants to love the truck and keep it forever, but not super comfortable with transmission swap. How many techs at the dealership have even performed a full transmission swap? I don't think transmission swaps are the craziest thing in the world to do. The problem is they don't have any transmissions for these because they're so new, so this guy's gonna be waiting a while. This does seem to align with the video that we saw at the beginning of this, with the tech saying that there's multiple transmissions, they don't have a fix for it. And there are more posts like this in the Facebook group. Think twice before buying one. Mine needs a new transmission at 211 miles, none available. And this was the same guy that posted, I think this was maybe his first or second post. This was on May 1st. He said, anyone else having this issue just got his TRD off-road 2 days ago, 211 miles. Dash lit up like a Christmas tree. Pissed off. Don't blame him. I'd be pissed off too. It does look like Toyota is taking care of him. He says it's in the process of Toyota corporate for a buyback under Lemon Law. They have 45 days to give their decision. Needs a new transmission and none available in the U.S. They're saying maybe mid-July, but he has to wait for a decision from Toyota on that. He's had it 3 days, drove it home from the dealership and back. And you may remember this in the TFL video when they got their Tacoma back after the front differential ADD broke. It started to overheat here, so watch this really quick.
My transmission is overheating. Is it? Not overheating, but look, it's reaching almost towards red. Yeah.
Donut Media did a test. I mean, they must have said the Tacoma was awesome 1,000 times, and it's awesome. It's the best truck ever. Oh my gosh.
Whole new level.
Now, the Tacoma is not without its cons. Justin and I had a great time driving both the Trailhunter and TRD Pro, but both of us also experienced an overheating transmission. I gotta say,
there you go. Look where they put that in the end of the video. You're 14 minutes into the video when 90% of the viewers are done watching, and oh, by the way, the transmission is overheating. Anyway, let's gloss over that. And then I caught this, the car care nut. He has the best content. He seems to be the most fair and balanced. And this part is where car care nut asks him a great question about the manual transmission.
I noticed that the manual transmission model makes a little bit less power than the automatic in the core engine.
Yeah, the iForce engine. Yeah. Yep.
Yes. Why is that?
Yeah, so as I was mentioning earlier, when we have our specifications that we have to meet for the amount of drive force that goes through the driveline, we can control a little bit of that initial wide open throttle first gear torque that goes through that driveline through software on the automatics. Okay. On a manual transmission, we can't control your right foot, right? True. So if you were to spin the RPMs up and dump the clutch, for example, you know, what's that going to do? Shock the driveline, prop shaft, rear diff, things like that. So we have to control the engine output a little bit more for that specific specification that's on the manual transmissions.
So to me, when he says they detune the manual transmission engine because they can't control your right foot with the software in the manual, because you could rev it up, dump the clutch, and they think that could damage things like the rear diff. It sounds to me like it's just not overbuilt, kind of like old school Toyota stuff seemed like it was overbuilt. And with the rear diff failures and the howling and the things you start seeing in these Tacomas and the transmission failures, I'm starting to wonder if they really overbuilt this stuff or if it's just built just barely good enough to work in most cases. They're just getting cheap, I think. This feels like they've gone cheaper with everything than they used to. He asks him about the frame and specifically listen for the thickness.
Touchy subject there. Yeah. What was done different in this Tacoma to help with some of the rust issues?
The outgoing model has the C-channel frame, so you get a lot of exposure to the elements on there, and then it can also get trapped inside and so forth, and some of the weld joints and everything. The new frame, as you mentioned, is fully boxed. We use tailor welded blanks on that frame, which is you can take two panels of different thicknesses and weld those together and then form them, and then we use the Tacoma weld process that will weld those panels together. And in doing that, you can get the strength where you need it without having to carry that section property with that material all the way through the length of the frame, so you're penalized for all of that mass where you don't need it.
Did you catch that? He says they don't carry the same properties. They don't carry the same properties, meaning the frame is not the same thickness all the way through. So they've gone super thin on a lot of the frame. They've fully boxed it, which is better than what they had on the C-channel, but they've gone super thin to reduce mass and only reinforced it where they think is needed. So I wonder how that's going to work out if they made any mistakes with that, where water gets trapped in the parts where they didn't increase the thickness and they actually shrunk it down. They're probably going to have rust issues there and weakness issues. And of course, on top of all that, there are the grill shutter issues and other things, like TRD John just reported he's having this issue.
Ryan pulled the Tacoma in and he noticed something. So we got the grill shutter malfunction, check engine light on, see your dealer, drive start control malfunction. All this stuff is going off right now on the Tacoma. Yeah, but we have to take it to the dealership anyways for the 10K mile, so.
And the last thing I want to talk about is this from Taco Garage. He was in the forums and he took the Tacoma out, see what it's capable of in the stock configuration. He did find what he thinks is probably going to be a common flaw that you'll have to get replaced on the shock mount. He said the new Tacos have no frame mounted bump stops like the second and third gens. Instead, the shock has an integrated bump stock, and it's simply a piece of foam that bumps the shock body to the shock mount or the top hat when in full compression. So he thinks that, if you have fatigue or hit hard enough that it's going to crack the top hat. So probably going to come up with a redesigned part here, Toyota will, or people are just going to put aftermarket fixes on it for that. And he goes on to show the cracked piece there. And he says, needless to say, I believe the cap is not enough to take the force a bump stop normally would. I'm not exaggerating when I say we didn't hit anything that would have caused a hard bottoming of the truck. So they didn't bottom it out. He was pretty careful, and they ended up having a failure on this design. Just another indication to me that it just feels a little underbuilt. So again, we'll see if this becomes an issue, these transmission issues, rear diff issues, shock mounts, all the other grille shutter issues. We'll see if they become like this is just commonplace for Toyota and you're just going to have all the same issues that General Motors and Ford and everybody else has, or if they're going to kind of button this up on their new platform. I really feel like between the Tacoma and the Tundra on the new platform, maybe this will change. And this isn't without precedent. The Camrys, I remember when the 2017, I think it was 2017 model year Camrys came out, they had transmission issues as well for about the first year, and they had quite a few issues with them, and they figured it out. I think they'll get this figured out. I don't necessarily think the transmission is just a bad design. Aisin's usually a pretty good transmission. Time will tell, right? We've already seen 4 reported to the National Highway and Safety. We start seeing them on forums. There haven't been as many of these trucks sold as, say, the Tundra, but we saw the same thing with the Tundra, transmission issues early on, and you see fewer transmission issues now. So it's hard to tell how many are really affected by this. The good news is other people are testing this truck out for you. I would not buy the new Tacoma or new Tundra at this point. I would just wait till 2025, 2026, and just let everybody else guinea pig this thing out for you. If you tow a lot, I'd love to hear if the transmission's overheating. This is something that I think is overlooked in a lot of modern trucks. They started removing transmission coolers on a lot of trucks in all different brands, around 2018, 19. They let these transmissions heat up. They don't care if they get to like 240 degrees. That I saw on TFL's tow test up the iGauntlet. The new Tundra, when it was max loaded, was getting up to like 246 degrees in the transmission. I'm sorry, but that's going to burn fluid. Your properties of the fluid are going to degrade, and it's going to cause problems later on. So maybe if you got one and you do a lot of towing, I don't think people buy Tacomas, predominantly for towing. But if you do tow with them, might want to keep an eye on your transmission temp. Maybe add an external cooler, and that might solve things for you. So anyway, hope this helps. Till next time, thanks for watching.